Whoa, what happened there? I'll get this right at some point. Hey folks, I see we have a few people in the YouTube chat. Thank you very much, lads. If you've watched how are you all doing? And first, can you hear me properly? If somebody can let me know if you can hear me properly. But if you've watched the video of me making some chiptune that I released on the YouTube, the Banjo Guy Audio YouTube channel, but this is essentially we're going to do the same thing tonight. I'm just going to try to make a piece. I don't know why or what, but yeah. Nabi Thunder, welcome back, dude. Welcome back. Sounds good. Hold on a sec. I need to move my mic. Oh no, I just need to do this. That's cool. You can hear me. That guy is bad at drawing. I like that nickname. You're all very welcome, folks. Thanks for joining. So, again, I'm going to repeat myself. I'm streaming this on the two channels and Twitch. I'll put the link to Twitch. I'd very much appreciate if you follow there as well. Long term, I will be streaming this exclusively on Twitch. So I don't know if I'll save this video as like the previous one, you know, where I was doing some Protracker stuff on the channel. I'm not sure what I'll do with it. I don't want to flood the channel with kind of stream stuff. I like to keep it for properly edited stuff. So we'll see. In fact, I removed the last one because I just wasn't happy with it, where I was editing the MIDI file for Leander. Let me just do some tidying here. No, that's not what I wanted to do. Crap. I've just lost my... how's everybody holding with the crazy stuff? Has the virus hit you yet? You love... Thank you, Double Extreme Doggo, for joining the motherfuckers club. I keep worrying that I'm going to get pulled out of one platform or another because somebody gets annoyed with the word motherfucker, but it's kind of stuck now. I think people got used to it. Thank you very much, dude. Yeah, it's really I'm really trying to build that audience on Twitch at the moment, just to just to have another platform. Like, it's always good to have backup. You just never know, you know. I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket at this stage, so it's going to be. And I've been streaming now pretty much for the past 2 weeks, almost every night or every day. I don't stream for long, like it's a couple of hours, but we'll see what we get done. So let me just get my tracker window. There you go. So I'm using Protracker again. I know a lot of people recommend that I use something like OpenMPT and all that, but OpenMPT, however cool it is, just quite doesn't have that same I was going to say charisma, but it just doesn't look as good. Like, I can fire OpenMPT, you'll see what I mean. It's just let me get my desktop app here. Yeah, that's OpenMPT here. It just doesn't look as cool, you know. If I open a file with this, even pattern-wise, something about Protracker that just looks much better. I find. Anyway, so let's load this. So I have no. This is an old tracker, a piece I was just working on. I'll just work with something from scratch. But it's that kind of sound, and it's just really hard to get that kind of sound with anything else, really. Anyway, so I just want to clear all. Thank you. And I'm just going to load some samples and just start working with it. Usually I like to... when I really don't know what I want, like if I just want to work from scratch, unless I have a melody in my head, I just want to just start with a bass and kick and a snare, and just work from there. So again, I think we're going to go for something. What am I doing here? I want to load a sample. It's not a sample. So I have this bass here that I probably won't use that in the long run, but I just want to load that. Actually, I want to check something. Can I load the samples from here? No, I need to change them every time. Okay. Did I? Oh, yeah, no, wait, I did. Huh. So this is to go back. Okay, 1, 2. Oh, I get it. I didn't know that in this version. We'll get a kick. Maybe something a bit chunkier. I just have these handy. Actually, we'll use that. And for the kick. Yeah, I suppose. That and yeah, I don't like using that. I need to know what I'm doing here. And the kick, I will load the kick again. And by the way, in these streams, I just work away. But feel free just to post any, ask any questions, chat or something like that. The whole point is not so much to get something done. It's just really to chat and yeah. I started streaming I was saying about 2 weeks ago, really. So I'm not exactly sure how everything works, and my goal is just to make something that I usually do on my own. That's kind of a bit tedious, to make it less tedious for me, and just share what I'm doing and chat for a while. It's much more easy for me if I chat. But it's not going to be anything boisterous or anything loud and crazy. These are typically very chilled. Yeah, I'm going to use this track. And that's the thing with Protracker, is everything is keyboard based. There's no, there's some copy and paste, but not a lot. So stuff like I like to use a different note for the snare. That way. Also, disc Upwork. I'm just gonna save this. I'm gonna call it test 6 because I've done 5 of these before, and we'll save it in the module folder. Did it save? Because I've been fooled before. Test 6 it is here. For the record, these are the ones I was making in the past. So these are all just kind of a few bars of ideas and stuff like that I'll flesh out at some point. All these. You heard this one. There was the one. Where was it? Was the first one? No. 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 Oh, forget. Never mind. Oh, it was this one that I worked on the last time. And this is became essentially this. Anyway, I'll release that in a couple of weeks. So, and there's a whole video that goes with it. It's actually a jingle for a friend of mine's podcast. That podcast is actually available. It's the Stone Age Gamers podcast, and they wanted something for their 300th episode. So I composed that little jingle and I turned that into a tune, and that's what it became. So, but that came from that little idea, kind of minus this, but it was this. Manu, how are you doing, dude? How are you doing? EG Music, I think you would enjoy OpenMPT. I do very much enjoy OpenMPT. I've used it before many times. And do I have stuff that I've done with OpenMPT here? Let me just see if I have it somewhere handy. I have it. Yeah, no, I've done it. It's very handy. I find it much more practical to work with OpenMPT than Protracker. If I'm 100% honest, it's because you can just do stuff like copy and paste and edit. Just start a sample. It's easier. It's a lot more flexible. But there's something just cool about using Protracker and showing Protracker being used. I don't know. It looks a bit more genuine. What I very often do is I use Protracker as sort of a base. Like I work a skeleton on Protracker, and then I just I flesh it out on OpenMPT. Then I export all the tracks into my main DAW, which is Acid Pro or something else. Wait, you're in here alone, Ollie. On Twitch, I think there's not many people. There's a few people watching on YouTube, Bard. There's a few people watching on YouTube. Yeah, on Twitch, there's not a lot. I think it's just yourself right now. There are people on YouTube. Thank you. Let me just check. Do I still have these audios? I'm not even sure I do. God, I should have kept them. Oh yeah, I know where they are. There's quite a lot of these. These were old Amiga mods that I rework and finished on OpenMPT, but I tried to keep them as close to what they were originally on the Amiga many years ago. Like my own stuff back when I was just learning tracker music. I don't know, when I was 16 or 14 or something like that. It's a lot of it's waveform sampling type of stuff, I'm hoping you can hear that because I'm just loading. Is that coming up at all? Anyway, I don't know if you could hear that, but hopefully you could. Anyway, let me just reload this. And I'm just going to start with something just very derivative of the time of patterns and bass lines and just drumming that you'd get there. That's usually how I start, like something just it's very simple, and then I sort of flesh it out from there, and then I go back to the bass, rework it, and all that kind of stuff. The cat turned into a stringed instrument. Oh, here, yeah. Actually, she'll be complaining that this is here. thank you. Yeah, the cat will thank you, dude. If she comes here and she sees the instrument, she won't be happy. All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. So we're just gonna start. We'll just do something like that. Something like that, bass line wise, you know. I'm just gonna keep it simple for now. Now it's not gonna sound yellow. Lolliet, how are you doing? How are you doing? So right now it's not gonna sound too sexy because this is just way too much sustain in that bass. It's probably the wrong bass to use for now. But like I said, I'm just gonna establish something and then we'll work on it. So here I just want to stop or fade out the volume. That command here, if you're not familiar with Protracker, this is the note line. That number gives you the D gives you the note. The number after before this zero here gives you this number. Sorry, gives you the octave. This number, I forgot what it does. Is it part of the? No, it's not part of the octave. Oh shit, I forgot. This is your. Oh, it's part of the instrument number. The two first numbers are part of the instrument number. So this sample number, and it goes up to, well, you know, as many as you can fit, and probably FF, I'm assuming. And this number here is the effect. So you can have stuff like slide up, slide down, slide to the next note, volume up, bring the volume down, or set volume. You can have stuff like arpeggios, which we'll go into afterwards. A is actually a volume slide, so it just slides the volume like by that many sort of we'll say volume points if you want, and all that kind of stuff. And there's more than that. Have you been involved in the demo scene after all? At all? It depends what you mean by involved. So we did have a small group when I was younger, and we I ended up doing a lot of coding and being the musician and all that, because everybody else was a lot of shit. We just had notions that we wanted to make demos, and but our graphic artist kind of wasn't great, and the guy who wanted to do the music wasn't great either. So I started as the coder, and all I could do at the time was a little scrolling text type of stuff, and then I managed to make it move like in a wave. But that's really all I managed. I couldn't even make a scrolling star. There was nobody doing assembler at the time around me, so all I had was just source code that I had scavenged from floppies in magazines and that kind of stuff. So wherever I could get my hands on. So that's really all it was. And then Marcus, thank you very much. Thank you. And then when it came to actually putting stuff together, well, the guy who did the graphics had done some stuff, some graphics we could use, and I managed to get some fonts, going and that kind of stuff. But the musician just the musician just couldn't put music together on the Amiga. So I started making the music myself, and that's sort of how, because I'd done some, not Tracker, but I'd done some music on the MSX years ago, like in BASIC. That's not even a Tracker. I was just programming them in BASIC. So I started using Sound Tracker and then Protracker and then MED. And I became more interested in the music side of things than the coding side of things. So yes, in a way, we made a few things, but nothing that left our room, unfortunately, or probably fortunately, because it was terrible. So here I just want to make that bass a bit chunky. So whenever there's gaps like that, I'm just gonna stop the sound, just fade it out. I could probably use F here, just maximum fade it out altogether. and it doesn't quite stop this. Well, it stops the sound just really quickly, but it's a bit better than just stopping the sound altogether. It fades it really quickly. It sounds a bit smoother. It sounds a bit nicer, I find. And here we're just gonna keep in mind this is a very old school tracker. It doesn't have all that fancy copy and pasting and all that kind of stuff. So everything I type will have to be typed for everything else. There's no there's a lot of repeat and tedious stuff like that. But I kind of like to work like that for initially. If I'm doing tracker stuff, like if I'm doing something else. Vampire, how are you doing? My Vampire is on YouTube and Twitch. Jeez, man, thanks for coming. Yeah, music coding is hard. It certainly is. Joey Wall, how are you doing? Yeah. Oh no, I'm not being harsh. I'm just being realistic. If it sucked, it sucked. But yeah, it's we'll get. That's the thing. We all get started somewhere, like. Yeah. So it's gonna be very 80s kind of. Very tracker-like, so we'll make it more interesting afterwards, and we'll probably change that bass line. Here I just need some hi-hats just to make it where are you at now, Joey Wall? Are you done driving for the weekend? Are you in your truck? Sorry, load sample. Oh. That could be cool to use. I'm gonna use that. Kick, light wood. Okay. I want a hi-hat. That's hi-hat enough. We can always change the samples afterwards once they're in. So I don't want hi-hats all the way. Like if I had them here, I'm going to use a different note so I recognize what's what. We could do this, but shoot, that was instrument 1. No, that was instrument 3. It's all right. I'm just going to use that space here for something else, and it's gonna sound a bit cool. Yeah. You're in Lexington, Virginia, beautiful countryside, but all the restaurants are shut down. You're eating in your truck. Ah, man. Is everything shutting down in the US at the moment as well? I know Vampire posted a few shots of the convention center there in California. Everything's closed. Yeah, we're on lockdown. Wow. Yeah, it's everywhere. So are we here. There was a way to copy and paste in Protracker. Yeah, you can copy an entire track with, I think it's Control F4 or Shift F4, and paste with Shift or Control F5. But you can't select. There's no way to just select, highlight and select, which you can in OpenMPT because it's a Windows-based application. That would have been a cool thing to have here. It would have made life so much easier, because then I can just create a small pattern like that and just copy paste all the way down. But that's all right. Yeah, that's a bit more interesting. And I had that light. Could I use that here? And just fill that entire. It sounds so Amiga. It's because it is. Save, module saved. I'll show you for an example of just refining and changing. Was it this one? No. No. I showed that in a previous stream, but it's just that bass, instead of using one instrument, what I might do after is use just different instruments. So it just makes things more interesting, and when you put it together with anyway, so there you go. Marcus, do music on the C64 and you will know how chord music making is. Yeah, but it's, yeah, absolutely. No clue how your musicians can work with all that numbers on screen. I find assembler coding to be way cryptic. Yeah, it's just different. It's just much close. Assembler is very close to the machine, so it's hard to dissociate the architecture to the code itself. You know, and it gives you an understanding as to how the hardware works. So they work hand in hand. Your R and to be way less cryptic. Coding to be way less cryptic. Yeah. But all this here is yeah. I see what you mean now. Yeah, likewise, like it's this tricks and everything, like, you know, in assembler, but it's once you get into the understanding, you know, what where your register is at, what the stack does, you know, what's in the stack, and then what all your different addresses, registers can do, and that kind of stuff. It becomes more of a flow, like, and then a job of optimizing all your code. And then there's some geniuses that make it work. Hey, kitty. See, so but the music, I find it straightforward. It's just the notes here is based on the ABC notation. So it's C D E F G A B. So that's all your 7 notes, and then you get your sharps and that kind of stuff. And that's really all there is to it, you know. Everything then is timed. So anyway, I'll go back to my mod here, and then we'll use that. God damn it, it didn't save it. Oh, I think it saved it in the wrong folder. Did it save it in the... Yeah, it saved it here. Whew. This up. Let's go into the module. Damn it. Let's go into the module folder and save it there. Are you sure? Overwrite file, yes. Okay. Okay, so nothing here, nothing too wild here. Next, I just want some chords. What I'm essentially going to do is a... David J, how are you doing? How are you doing? Folks who watch on YouTube, this is the link here to Twitch. If you want to sub there, I'd appreciate it. I'm trying to build my... my stuff on the my audience on Twitch, and long term, and that's where I'll be streaming. We're gonna need some chords. Some of those arpeggio chords, big and wild and strong. And for those, there's two ways to do chords. Actually, I have some technically. Sorry. technically Amiga music isn't exactly chiptune. It's sampling, and we're using a sampling tracker. But you can sort of simulate chiptune with little tiny samples that you modulate and then rework or stretch or extend or loop. So it's not technically chiptune, because chiptune would be generated, a waveform that's generated by the chip. But here you can isolate a tiny little waveform from a sample and then sort of treat it like a generated waveform. The end result is very, very similar. But I think we're just arguing semantic here. Samples, sorry, I was looking for samples. That's not, why is it? Load samples. Oh yeah, that's the joy as well. You either load a module or a sample, because there are different formats, and this thing won't allow you to see everything. Do you make music on the ST? No, I never had an ST. What's the chip on the Atari ST? Is it the AY? The AY38910 IC, is that the one? It's a square wave chip, isn't it, on the ST? I think it's the same as the MSX, the Spectrum, and the Amstrad. So here I do have some square waves saved, and they're slightly different tone. Where are they gone? So you can generate that sort of FM modulation, frequency modulation. But I want this one is slightly less. There's a lot more sort of peak triangle-y in this one, so I'm just going to select this one. Yeah. Now the danger with doing this is it's probably slightly out of tune. Let me show you. Yeah, it's way off. So we can fine tune it here. Yeah, that's something like that. Yeah, that's close enough. This is what I mean here. This is essentially a chunk of a sample that we're looping. So and then you can stop. You can do all sort of just different filters and change the range. The other thing you can, the other way you could achieve this is by just loading. I don't know. Have I a lead here? Yeah. That's a long sample. So, how do I zoom again? Show range. Where is that? Show range. So we're just gonna zoom. Oh yeah, we can do that here. And essentially literally just isolate one waveform. I want it, is there anywhere that looks like it's zeroing nice and clean? I suppose here. Actually, I need it very close to the beginning. Yeah, we can actually just take all that and the scarf. No, it's cozy. I like the coziness of it. So we'll set our beginning here, and is that it? I forgot range. No. I know. We just bring our. It's probably a quicker way to do this. So essentially, you just narrow that range. We're gonna bring it, I don't know, here, and that looping section here. Yeah, something like that. So now it's essentially going to loop these as soon as I... Yeah. So probably not very useful, so I can just extend that. So there you go. Now we've got sort of our sample. And the longer it is, you know, the lower. Yeah. So then we can use that as an instrument. So essentially the sample is going to start from here. It's not even going to play all through here. It's just going to play, it's going to arrive here and loop back from here. And then we can use that in... and actually it sounds very close to that other one that we have. It's all square wave here in this case. But if we had like a nice sin wave or a sawtooth kind of type of sample, we could just do the same stuff. Your girlfriend, oh, sorry to hear, David J. She was heavily into Bowie. No, I'm not trying to do the Bowie thing here. I had a sore throat today, so I just wore that. I'm okay now. It's just, it was just one of those winter things. Nothing bad. So I wore this scarf and I kept it because it's cozy. It's lovely and cozy. Together 3 years. Yeah, that's rough. Yeah, sorry, man. Sorry. Yeah, 3 years is a long time for sure. And it's actually set, I'm lucky in this case, it's set on the same note. So we're just going to do this and you'll see what I mean. So right now it doesn't sound like much, but we're going to add some arpeggios. Actually, let me just delete this and we're going to add arpeggios. I explained this the last time. But I'll re-explain it again. So 0 is the effect code for those arpeggio effects on most trackers. It's kind of a standard now, at least on Amiga style trackers, and it works by semitone. So if you know a little bit about how your triads work and your chords work, a major chord. So let's just say, we'll start here. Let's just say this is your major chord, and then this is your major scale. So major chord would be composed of the third and the fifth. This is the second, so the root note is the 1, second note is second, third note is the major third, as it's called, because it's a major scale. So you use that 1, 3, 5, and you have that major chord. And if you used the minor third, so not, but you have that minor chord. Major triad, major chord, minor chord. It's as simple as that. And the only difference here is that we don't use 1, 3, and 5. We'll have to use... actually, we'll have to use because it starts from 0. So 1 is your 0. So this note would be 0. This note would be 1, making this note 2, which is incidentally your second in your scale. But the minor third would be the 3, and the major third would be the 4, and then your 5 would be actually 7. So because you got a whole tone, 2 semitones. Hold on. So here in this case we're going to use the 0 for that for that triad, and if I put a 3 here, which is our minor third, it's going to create arpeggio, really fast arpeggio that sounds like a chord with your root note, and which is D, and the minor third. It's going to sound like a minor chord. It's only 2 notes, so it's not technically a chord, because a chord is at least a triad. So we're going to add the 5th, which in terms of semitones here is 7. So we got that minor chord. So a major chord would be 4. But here I just want just a short burst, like a doop 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 doop, something like that. So I'm just gonna do this, and then I'll stop the sound just like we did here with that A command as soon as it started. And we don't need any of that then. We can use F, or let it linger for a little bit. Not yet, maybe later. And I'm just going to do that every time there's one of those kicks. So we're looking for that C here, and do the same thing. I apologize for the nasty sounds coming out here, but because that sample loops, it just, unless I stop it with pressing escape, which is also the same button as the edit button, it won't stop. So here we're looking for F, and it's going to be it's a major triad. Come on, my music theory isn't huge, so sometimes I do have to struggle for stuff that is basic to a lot of people. We're going to sing some stuff here. And now you know what I mean by having no copy and paste. Yeah, Joey. Well, I'm just building. Totally from scratch. I'm just using something very sort of derivative of what was done on the Amiga back then, and we'll flesh it out afterwards. So what I'm starting with here now probably won't be what it sounds like at the end. You know what I mean? But it's kind of the way, if I have an idea of a melody I want, like I'll start with that, and then you kind of flesh out the chords after, behind. But in this case, I just really don't know, so I'm just starting. It's like a drawing or anything like that. You just start with a rough idea, just a few line sketches and things like that, and then the end result is sort of reminiscent of what you started sketching, but it's a lot more fleshed out and detailed, and sometimes very, very different. David, you used to play around with the TCB tracker on the ST back in the day. Allowed full channel, it wasn't too bad. Not as good as the Amiga version. Yeah, well, I mean, there was a huge gap between the Amiga and the ST, but keep in mind the ST was a wave generator chip, so you could do some sampling on the ST, but it used an enormous amount of RAM or something like that, whereas the Amiga could. Actually, I'm not sure how sampling worked, but there wasn't a dedicated chip for sampling, as far as I know. Whereas on the Amiga there was, the music was handled by a separate IC, so it was just much more versatile for music, and a lot depended on the quality of your samples, It looks like you're painting it's a single pixel at a time in MS Paint. It's very much like that. It's very much like pixel art, and on the MS Paint. It's just every number, every note is entered by hand, So it's very deliberate in that way. Like you can't just leave things to chance. Although that can happen, but. Music pixel art, yeah, something like that. Something like that. I never like the word chiptune because it's very, very misleading. It's actually not something I like saying, but it's if I say that and if I call the stream that, people instantly know what I'm talking about. But the word chiptune is just a horrible name. It's like the word pixel art, because remember back then, like it wasn't. The word chiptune didn't exist back then. They were called tunes or modules, or musics, but because that's the only tool we had. So it wasn't an artistic choice to use this to make music. That's the only tool that was available. And it's now retroactively, like with that resurgence of retro gaming, it's been called chiptune, but it was never called that. And neither was pixel art. They were called graphics, because that's the only tools we had and the only device we had. But I get it. You need something to refer to it as to what it was. Like if you said music, well, there's so many variation of music, like between modern DAWs and acoustic stuff and electric stuff and all kind of stuff. It's just is that minor? Is the A? We're in the key of D is the A minor. I can't remember. We'll find that quick enough. So I've never been a fan of that word chiptune or pixel art. Gareth, to me, chiptune is distinct from sample-based tracker mods. Yes. Well, that's the distinction we can make, or we should be making nowadays. So, like I said early on, this is not technically chiptune. It's sample-based tracking, and chiptune would be like stuff like the C64, or like anything like the SD. Anything that is generated by a chip, like the NES, like the Sega Master System. You could argue the Mega Drive is chiptune as well. It's more FM, isn't it? But yeah. So the move from chiptune to sample based tracking was it's quite a revolution at the time. Like it just allowed a lot more options. But there's something cool about having that sound that defines a platform. Like that SID chip just defines the C64. And the NES, you just recognize that sound because it's just so unique, and it's at the time it was the Mega Drive or the Master System didn't sound anything like the NES or like the actually even in between computers. Like there was I was surprised when I found out that the Amstrad CPC and the MSX used the same chip, and they sound very different. It's probably obviously the clock and the sync had a lot to do with that. But yeah, so all these were indeed chiptune. But again, at the time, it wasn't called chiptune. It was just music. Digisynth, I never heard that though at the time. I'm going to go get in line for a shower. Happy Friday, everybody. Goodbye now. Goodbye, Joey Wall. Thanks very much again for stopping by, dude, and chatting for a bit. Yeah, on the Spectrum, they've integrated Tracker. Oh, okay, I see. Yeah, you can get trackers nowadays anyway for the AY. What is it called? I have it here. Is it Argos Tracker? That you can use for the AY. I'm not sure. There's Goat Tracker for the C64. There's one for the Master System. I have it here. Mod 2 PSG. No, that's not. Yeah. So there's loads of modern options. Like actually, one of the goal I have is to make a small EP using a different tracker every time. So I'm gonna start with the Amiga, just get my refresh my my tracker reflexes, and then I'll probably move to something with the AY chip afterwards, and hopefully I'll get to make some stuff for the C64 and the NES at some point. I'm not gonna do like an EP for just the MSX, just the Amstrad, just the Spectrum, because it's the same chip, you know. So it'll probably just be an AY type of EP. Or we'll see. It's cool to see we got a few people on the YouTube channels joining. Anyway, let's see. Let's keep So it's not great. It probably need something a bit more dynamic. Can I just speed that up a bit? F is the speed. Tempo. No, absolutely not. No, I think we're fine where we were. That was just way too fast. I'm gonna set it. That's not bad. It's not bad. Maybe that 5? Or is it just still too fast? What do you think? Without. Oh, shoot. I just... Yeah, something like that. So I'm not happy with that bass. First, I need. You know what? I'm gonna just get a different bass sound. I don't have a lot here. These are just the standard samples I like to start with, but I have a whole plethora of of loops and samples. Damn it. All the SD floppies that you could order in catalogs back then. Urban Shakedown. That. Oh, forgot I had that. Ooh. Yeah, these are all the... I don't think these are Amiga loops. I think these are just from an old archive I put there by mistake. typically I don't find much interesting in the first 10 ones. No. This is going to be the boring part. That's not bad. Oh no, I entered the... What have I done? What have I done? What have I done? So I like to... that's going to be much more interesting. Slightly off tune as well. We're gonna need more basses. No. What's that? No. God damn it. It keeps better correct that before I I'm gonna move here, that way if I add anything or press edit by mistake. Just like watching myself 25 years ago, you miss those times. Yeah, I gotta be honest. Well, first, welcome, John, and thanks for the message. Please do subscribe on Twitch if you can. But it's yeah. I had well, that's what I was doing again 25 years ago, and I don't know why recently I was messing with a Protracker like a few months ago, and I fell in love with it all over again. So I decided to do more with Protracker, and so I started just doing little sort of skeletons of ideas, and then what I've been doing is just making them in Protracker, fleshing them out in OpenMPT, and then importing them into my DAW Acid Pro, just to kind of finalize them, just actually edit the lead. I find it easier to do all this kind of stuff, all the chording and all the bass and all that kind of stuff here, because I can just micro control them with the effects, and then the melody and the leads and all that kind of stuff, I like to do them with the modern DAW because it's just much more flexible. I can use my keyboard and I can do all sort of cool effects, and then just add some background chords, long strings and things like that. So this is what happened. Let me save this. I should really save, and I'm not going to save here because no, I saved in this folder. Damn it. That's going to be the problem. It's going to be a problem. I'm going to have to navigate every time if I want to save modules. Test 6, yes, save module. That's when a Protracker isn't so much fun. But anyway. Bard, you're off to bed. Yeah, mind yourself, dude. I hope you're feeling better. Kurt Fox, to see you working hard. Bard, thanks for the link, man. Thanks for the link. Bard is one of two moderators on the Discord server and is a good friend. So be nice to Bard. How are you doing? How are you doing, Kurt Fox? And I'm going to throw in the link regularly. I should get a bot to do this. You had version 2.3. Not a beard, though. No, I don't think I had a beard then either. I had long hair, though. But yeah, if you can join the on Twitch, follow me on Twitch there. I'd appreciate that, lads. Where was I? I'm looking for more bass sounds. Something longer and just that's a cool no, not now. I'm just going to focus on the bass. Let's focus, Ollie, focus. Let's go back. To my E drive, not DVX, archive. No. All these, I remember these samples, these guitar samples sounded dead cool at the time. And we all wanted to use them in modules, but in reality it was really hard to do anything nice with those. And they always sounded terrible when used in model. Do you know, I'm looking for a bass, but I don't think it's a bass. I should be... Oh yeah, I just loaded that. It's gonna be sud chords. Oh. Minor, major. Should keep those in hand for later. I might do that and just. Where was I there? What sample is that? I'm getting confused in sample numbers. Yeah, we'll use that for later on. We'll keep that for later on. Stuff like that can actually sound. I would set up Twitch account today. Thank you. Can't go to Pinball Club, but doing good. Yeah, there's an arcade here, not in the next town from here, and they had to close down, and it's just really tough because they had just opened business. Yeah, it makes things like that very tough. I think there's nothing there for me in this folder. I'm gonna keep that under. kind of like that. Can I do anything with that? That's way too loud though. Actually, I can control it here and set the default to 20. Lower the volume here and repeat it. So we can actually just, without entering the note, we can repeat the note, but just entering the note number in here. And here it's an arpeggio. I'll show you what I'm trying to do. So it's repeating that note twice. At first time I'm limiting the volume, so if I didn't do that, it'll sound like this. Come on. Which is not great. So here I'm going to limit the volume really fast, so it's going to play it and just drop the volume super fast. It's going to make a really short note. Here I'm repeating that note. It's but instead of repeating from the start, it's going to repeat that note from where the sample is. So if the sample hasn't stopped, it'll bring in the volume up, and here I'm going to add a tiny arpeggiation of just one semitone, because it's really fast. It's just going to sound really, a bit kind of odd. It just makes things a bit more interesting. What have we here? What do we have? Oh, that's because that should be a C. That should be C3 at instrument 5, and that's not that. What the fuck's going on here? Why is this sound off? It does sound odd. Maybe it's just my ear. Hey, Kane Jenna, are we creating some new exciting music tonight? We're creating some new music. I'm not sure if it'll be exciting, but it's definitely something new, dude. Thanks for coming down. Thanks for joining. Right now, it's just going to be very derivative. There's one thing I'd like to do, because that drum sounds okay, but I just want to have a bit more humph in it. So what we'll do, we'll repeat it, and I'm just going to use an echo effect on it. So I'm going to repeat that same note. That's the note for the drum. I'm going to repeat it really fast after it and just drop the volume by 20. And I probably need to drop it. Actually, you know what? Instead, I'm going to use it here. And it's kind of low, I find. No, it doesn't actually help that much. I think I'm going to stick to this. And here was C#3. Interesting, the next C# I used the C# second octave. It actually sounds okay. I might repeat that. Which one was it? Is it the one right after? No, it's the one after the one after. So here it's the C sharp 2 on instrument 5. I know some people might be very confused here as to what I'm exactly doing, but it's a lot of manual editing, and once you have an appreciation of what all those numbers are, it does make sense, I promise. Did I make Protracker stuff back in the day? Yeah, I was talking about that earlier on. Yeah, I started with making music on the MSX in BASIC. That's pretty much how I learned all that ABC notation, and just a rough principle of very simple music. And then when I got the Amiga, I got Soundtracker. So I started with that. I was ripping a lot of samples from video games and just trying to actually just recreate some of the tracks from video games. Just pretty able to rotate it 90 degrees. Yeah. And what's going on here? Come on. Oh, yeah. And I forgot what I was talking about. Oh, yeah, so it was a Soundtracker. I was just ripping music from video games, tried to reproduce the music from the video game with the samples I had. So I taught myself the Protracker or Soundtracker tricks and tracker tricks at the time, like how it would all work and that kind of stuff. And then from there, I got Protracker, which was a bit of an upgrade from Soundtracker. It was very, very similar. And then after that, I got Med, which was again, it's a tracker. It was very familiar layout, Octamed, but it just allowed for a bit more fleshed out and a bit easier to use. So yeah, that kind of works. I'm not entirely convinced this drum line is this bass line is effective, but oh, I can delete those guys. They're gonna annoy me otherwise. And that should be much lower. I don't like that sample. I'm gonna Surface 79 Protracker 2.3D is the one I aim to have stuff working properly on it for playback on an Amiga. Yeah. I'm not sure which one this one is. Yeah, 2.3D, that's the one. Yeah. Really like Octamed, so have that running a sampler over MIDI. Yeah. I very much liked Octamed. There's something about Protracker that just looks genuine. It looks the part, and people like the look of Protracker. I find so do I. I very much like the look of it. So ultimately, if I wanted just ease and convenience, I'd be using OpenMPT on PC as a tracker, because it just sort of does everything. It's got all those extra tracks and all that kind of stuff, and you can copy and paste easily. It's just very, very useful and handy to use, and I might do that in the future. But there's something about streaming Protracker and just having to enter everything with a keyboard and people seeing you struggle to do that, is probably more compelling for a stream. So it kind of makes sense, and it's cool to use. It's cool to reuse Protracker. Jam John 1207, try getting into Octamed, but years of using Protracker did not make it so easy. Always reverted back to Pro. Interesting. So I did find using Octamed much easier for me, and it was exactly the same workflow as far as I could see. It did take a little, period of adaptation, but not much. And at the same time, I was a teenager, so I had all the time in the world. So it was, I didn't find it difficult at all. That's interesting, though. It's always interesting to hear somebody had the reverse experience to you. How come? Like, what did you find hard to change? I suppose once you got your habits, and once you got your workflow set up and you're used to everything, it can be daunting to move. Like, I know I'm the same with the DAW. Like, I know using something like I am Ableton Live, which I might start using at some point, or Reaper, or whatever it's called, the Cubase, probably will be better than use it Acid Pro. But Acid Pro is what I'm used to. Like, and I know exactly what it does. I know exactly what it doesn't do, and how to get around what it doesn't do. Like, it's just once you're used to a tool and you found to do stuff around it, like, it's just really hard to change. Really, really hard to change. Because every time I show Acid Pro, people are like, oh, just use something else instead of that. But I'm like, why? I'm used to it. That's what I like using. Octamed does have copy and paste stuff, which is very nice for quality of life. Yeah, it makes life so much easier. There's copy and paste here, but it's just entire tracks, and it's useful. I forgot that Octamed had that copy and paste on the Amiga. Does it? Can you actually just highlight and select some stuff? Captain Raveman, Octamed Pro version 4 looks the part as well to me. Yeah, Octamed Sound Studio not so much. Yeah, I'm not entirely versed in all the versions of. I think it was. I'm not sure it was Octamed. I think it was just Med I had on the Amiga. Because there was Med first, and Octamed extended the available channels, didn't it? But I was still stuck to just 4 channels. Let me just see if I can find a screenshot of it. Maybe it was Octamed I used. No, it was Med. It was definitely Med. Let me just share my my desktop here for just a second. So this is no, not that, but this is what I had. This is so this was not Octamed. This was just Med, and that's what I used. Like, it does look good, it still looks the part, but it's something about the layout of Protracker that appeals more to people. I've no idea. No, that's not that. Yeah, here. Yeah, like, if you look at the way, it just, I think, it's more appealing using Protracker than Octamed or Med. It just looks a bit more austere. But I very much like using it. It was much more flexible. Anyway. Stuffface 17, I started with Octamed. Interesting. OpenMPT rules, I can make stuff for playback on an Amiga, and it's just it's so convenient, even for composing, and just having all these extra tracks is just so cool, because at the end of the day, we just want to make music. We don't care if it sounds 100% genuine or what. Let me just save this and go back and save this. I was just going to show you, because there's a few new people, and if you've been in the stream, you'd have heard that already, but show you. So what I do very often is I just edit stuff, just a rough basic outline in load sample. Is it the sample save? No, save module. No, yeah, not yet. Save module. So very often I'm always afraid with this that it won't save it. Yeah, it saved it. It's different. So this was the last time I streamed and did something with Protracker, which was a month ago or a month and a half ago. That's what we had. Again, very derivative of those trainers on the Amiga and crack throws sort of music. That's all it was. So what I do is I usually flesh this out in Protracker, and then I import it in Octamed, just add maybe a track or two, and then I bring it into Acid Pro. And this was, so this tune, sorry. Oh. It became this once I processed, fleshed it out and done it in Acid Pro. So kind of flesh it out like that, and I can add those chords behind as well, just on the keyboard. And I usually make the melody. Sorry, I usually make the melody then with Acid Pro directly. Anyway, so you get the idea. It just allows for so much more flexibility, and then you can just send that to all the VST to widen the sound and add echo and all that kind of stuff, and then proper EQ, just enhance the bass, just flesh out the drums, just all sort of stuff. But at the core, I like to start with Protracker, and then you can say that it's started as actual tracker music, even though at the end it was heavily processed with a DAW. But Acid Pro is awesome for editing. Yes, I agree. I very much like the MIDI editing. A lot of people say it's not great for MIDI. I completely disagree. I think it's because you can actually just edit different MIDI tracks at the same time, which a lot of DAWs don't allow. Like, you can actually just go into edit mode and have as many as you can see on the screen, like edit tracks, and just edit them together. So you can make stuff really, really tight in MIDI. In fact, if you go back to the archives on Twitch, I was editing a MIDI file for Leander. So I converted the old Amiga mod into a MIDI file because it wasn't available. I hear a lot of people are looking for it. So I created one, and that took a few hours. Like, I did about 3 streams on that. But Acid Pro is perfect for that. What happened to my... hold on. I just... yeah. So, I very much believe Acid Pro is the best tool for that kind of stuff. And for multiple, like, MIDI editing, like multiple tracks at the same time. It took you a while to... using Ableton Live, improvising, doing live stuff is wonderful. Yes, no, it's a great. I have the light version, and it's a great tool. I think if I was going to upgrade, I'll probably upgrade from Acid Pro to Ableton. because the other ones are still good. I mean, Cubase, don't get me wrong. I have it here. I have Reaper, I have Cubase, I have different stuff, but they're sort of iteration of the same tool, really. I think the only thing that Acid Pro doesn't do is sidechaining natively, but I never use sidechain. I never liked sidechaining. So if Ableton would probably be the upgrade if I upgrade my DAW at some point this year. It'd probably be to Ableton, Ableton 10. Captain Ravenman, yes, you can highlight and copy on Octomid. Fair enough. Octomid sounds to you need to be running in highest res mode. Yeah, okay. Fair enough. Octomid also has more samples. You only get 31 with Protracker. I was wondering about that. Yeah, I mean, if you can't, well, at the time, 31 samples was quite a lot. I mean, you'd have, 10 or something like that. Now you probably want a few more, but I mean, 31 samples is shitload as it is. Captain Raverman, you prefer the layout of Octomid. Fair enough. Yeah, it's taste is really personal preference when what you're used to and what makes your life easier at the end of the day. I don't think there's a better tool than, one tool is better than the other. It's really down to personal preference and anyway. I actually don't like this. Well, it's not that I don't like it. It's maybe if I flesh out the bass a bit more. Can't remember what I found difficult in Octomid. It's been so many years. That's fair enough. If you didn't like it, you didn't like it. That's just the way it is. Yeah. You have two Amiga 600 at some point. I'm gonna do the rough. Oh yeah, I've seen. What's the guy that does this? The guy, a friend of Retro Man Cave that does that. Does live mixing of two Amiga. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool stuff. Studio One. Okay, yeah, I'll keep an eye on it. I think it's going to be hard to beat Ableton, though. The good thing I like about Ableton is the workflow. I mean, there's so much in Ableton, but the way I work and the workflow in Ableton as well, between Acid Pro and Ableton, are somewhat similar for what I do. Ultimately, for the live recording, for the Banjo Guy Ollie channel, so it's it makes more sense for me to move to that. Do you have any sample packs to share? For what? For tracker stuff? No, I just use the standard ST sample packs. But if you mean for my own channel, I don't use samples on Banjo Guy Ollie, so can't help you there. Ravi, yeah, that's it. That's the one. He's the guy. It's two guys back in the 90s got into pop charts using two Amigas for audio. Oh, yeah. Fair enough. You know what I got recently was a MIDI adapter for the Amiga. And ScoopX sample packs on this site for Protracker. Oh, that's cool. I'll check it out. Yeah, I love ScoopX. I want to do a mod listening party on Twitch at some point. I probably won't do it on YouTube, but I'll just fire Twitch and then just listen and chat to cool mods by other people. Much more talented at tracker than I am. But yeah, I want to do that at some point. I need to just do. I'm finding mods every now and then. I need to get back to doing the chiptune stuff. Here I'm just going to bring the slightly. Oh, you mean what I use for trackers? No, but I can show you where I I have this handy. I usually start with that if I make something. I have these samples, which are essentially the samples from Overload and what's the other one? Enigma. I just saved all the samples from there because they're kind of cool to start with, and then you refine them afterwards. So Overload and Enigma, and you can save the samples individually. But otherwise, I just have. I mean, I have tons of samples banks. But these are the ones I use, all the ST. You can find them, you'll find them easily online. All the ST. These were all the old floppies you'd get in magazines, like anybody who's had an Amiga and did some tracker back then would remember these. Yeah, it had really, that was a cool, let me just see if I can find another bass. I'm just not happy. So all these ST samples, you'll find the entire bank. It's just, it's like, I don't know, a few hundred, 100 at least floppies just full of samples. Are you sure what? I just want to load a sample. I'm loading a sample here. Amateur, yes. Ooh. No. Oh, of course I fucked that up there. The edit button is just very annoying here. What did I mess up? Yeah, I'm not happy with that, but anyway. That just sounds terrible, that thing. Yeah, that's that was me just trying random stuff there, but I'll come back to that. Sometimes it's just easier to leave something alone for a while and then come back to it. No, I'm trying to. You forget how tedious and frustrating it can be to work with only a keyboard. Oh, what is it? See, my ears are going now. That's not a minor. Is it a minor chord? No. Let's convince this one. That is not what I was looking for. Anything chordy in here? No, I tell you what, I'm just gonna go back and sometimes it's easier to use the ones you know, but I was hoping I could yeah, isn't it? That's not going to work at all. And I'm getting mixed up in... Oh, that was fine. It's hard to know because none of these sample match on the C, so sometimes you're struggling to find the note where they start at. So the C on this instrument or the D on this instrument is actually the C of this one, you know, and that kind of stuff. And then we're lucky here on those notes, but here it could actually be an E or something like that. Yes, you're doing jazzy chords. No one understands those. Yeah, those samples aren't tuned at all. So thank God for the fine tune. But even the fine tune sometimes just doesn't fix stuff magically. We'll make things a bit more palatable here and just turn off the loop. Let me load this one as well. Look in the sampler button, there's a fine tune there. You know, yeah, it's there. I made those from just square waves a while back. These are kind of cool and they're trying to find the notes that are in there. Is that a major chord? It's hard to tell sometimes. That doesn't help me much because this thing starts on a minor chord. At least if I know this is a minor chord. It does sound minory, doesn't it? It's gonna sound horrible. Sorry about that, folks. We'll do something that's gonna. I could use them. I prefer it for a higher pitch as well, but this is the highest. I wish the delete button worked here. I keep getting confused. It works on the notes. It doesn't work on the... That's terrible. Oh, what's the, is it for the vibrato? I forget. No. Yeah, that's it, isn't it? I could actually just No, I don't like that slide at all. Okay. Okay. And that could be much lower. No, 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 no. Cancel, cancel, cancel. No, cancel. In fact, we're gonna save this for now. Yeah, I told you fellas it would be a tedious save module overwrite file. Yes. Stewface79, thank you very much for joining the Motherfuckers Club. I really appreciate that, dude. Thanks very much. Yeah, long term, this is where I'll be streaming Twitch, you know. I don't want to flood the channel with stuff like that. I'm doing it now because, you know, we're all stuck. Wait, you had subscribed before, didn't you? Or were you just on YouTube? Adrian Bauer, how are you doing, man? It's great to see you again here. We're doing Chiptune tonight, and I forgot what I was saying. You distracted me, Adrian, again. But yeah, as you can see, again, this is tedious, very tedious, but it's fun. I like doing it, and it's kind of my chill time doing stuff like that. Are you stuck indoors, Adrian, as well, or are you getting there? Anyway. Here we should get a major chorus. We can. Did we detune this? That's not the right chord, is it? I'm just gonna do this here for now, but at least we'll have this entered, and no. Interesting. No. Ahead of the curve until you have to order your shopping. Lots of just have to, that's the way to go. Yeah, to work from home jobs, quarantined for the last 2 years. That's fair enough. Yeah, I'm not exactly a sociable beast either. So far it hasn't affected me too much. Something funny about that chord, but we'll use it for now. That chord isn't right, is it? Wrong chord. Oh. The fan streaming. Hello, hello from France. How are you doing, dude? Welcome in here. Welcome in the stream. I'm gonna once again, and I know I do that a lot. I need to get myself a bot that does that regularly, and I need to get myself a bot that says what I just said regularly. But if you, I'd really very much appreciate if you could follow me on Twitch as well. Long term, we'll be streaming these on Twitch only. Analog X64 over at Mod Archive back in 2000. Someone had started ST project which attempted to identify the original ST01 samples and had 30 out of 126. Is that what you mean? 30 floppies out of 136? The project died. I have... is that what you mean? Cadavre. That's a very French thing. Is that you, Dalf, or Defalm streaming? Anyway, thank you very much for the sub, or the follow, sorry. Really appreciate that. Really do. I'm just really trying to build my audience on stream these days. It's just as an option and as an alternative to YouTube, you know. I kind of need to think about stuff like that long term. Let me just switching to Twitch. There you are. That's you. No, Defam, thank you very much. So that was something else. Thanks a lot. Welcome to the Motherfuckers Club. So the archive of ST. Oh, you're Captain Raveman. Okay, I get it. Makes more sense now. And this is what I have. I've this list of analog x64. This list of all the floppies. So I don't know how many that is. Like it's 99. We got we got close to 120 something here. Oh, where they came from, you mean? Or actually, where they came from? Roland D50 and Yamaha. Okay, I see what you mean. Yeah, these were very, like, if you listen to a lot of these, like, these would be I've used the early days of the Amiga stuff, and then people, especially in the demo scene, would have started making their own samples, and sample stuff themselves. I know Moby, not the famous Moby, but the guy that used to compose as Moby back then would do a lot of his own samples. Adrian Bauer, Bandcamp is apparently doing an All Profits to Musician Day. Yeah, they are. Yeah, they've announced. I don't promote like, when they do stuff like that, like discounts and All Profits to Musician Days, because I don't want to. I don't want to feel like I'm profiting from events like we have at the moment. I just go, so I usually that these promotion days pass, and like stuff like Black Friday and all these kind of stuff. I just I don't promote. I should. I'll probably make money from that, but I don't feel right. If people want to buy stuff or the Bandcamp or the MP3s and all that, they will. It's they don't need me to remind them all the time. Cadaver. Is that okay if I call you Cadaver? It's going to be weird switching to a different pronunciation. I already headed over to the MegaNet, downloaded all the SD archives. Now, cool. Stewface, DX21 is a great way to get cheap DX7. Sounds. Where was I? What was I doing before I was doing this? John, thank you very much. Welcome to the club. Something like that. Yeah. Oh! Nice. Cookies. So now, everybody. Analog, you're off to bed. Good night, dude. They're not cookies, like they're actually what is it? Just like granola bars that Fiona made, but there's no sugar in them. It's really cool. Ramtamiga, how are you doing? Welcome here. I'm making a track, very derivative and reminiscent of other tracker tunes. And so far, in what, 2 hours? There's something at the end I wasn't happy with. We can't have cookies. There's something funny with that. Here, I don't think we need that second one. Well, because we're going to use that space to still not happy with that snare. Could we get actually, you know what we need to flesh out is that. I need a cool sound, an extra cool bass sound. I'm just not happy with the one we have. Alright, let's go back to our, we'll just pick a, actually, something like that, but shorter would be cool. One of the other problem with stuff like Tracker and all that is that there was no proper library. You know, they like all the samples were just random stuff. Like, and I had floppies and floppies of. I still have them actually. All my floppies of samples. I don't think the floppies still work, but I had floppies and floppies of just random samples. So whenever I was looking for stuff, it was just always sort of tedious process of just going through floppies. Leo, nobody from nowhere. How are you doing, dude? Leo's another fellow. There's many musicians in the chat tonight, but a YouTuber and acoustic instrumentalist, great guitar player. You missed the bulk of this. I'm still not done. I'm probably have an hour yet in me. No. Cowbell. Ah, that is very disappointing. That is very... Oh. I didn't like that sound. What is that? I like that. Did I build everything from scratch? Yes, I did. I had no idea what I wanted to do at the start, and this is 2 hours later. Again, it's very derivative from other Amiga tracks, but that's kind of that was the point of just starting from scratch, just trying to get similar sounds to different stuff. I'll probably change those chords at some point. This is still to be fleshed out. Do you know? I think the first half is okay. Nope, nope, no, not that brr. We don't want that brr. Or unless it's it'll be a burr that's much less burr by. No, it's still loud. Even at. You love when I put the first two channels. Yeah, once you're kicking the drum, like that drum is kind of cool and nice. What was that? Ooh, you shouldn't be here. I like that sort of bassier of that. Hey, Mechanical Cooper, how are you doing? What did I do here? What did I do? Mouse, how are you doing, dude? How are you doing? Just making some Amiga mods. Stewface, see you, dude. Thanks for stopping by and thanks for the follow. You speed running Castlevania at 11 minutes 45 seconds. Man, that is impressive. Very impressive. So now, right, gamers, how are you doing? Jeez, we got a lot of people after coming. I suppose people are coming and going. Look at that. This is a first. We got more people on Twitch than on YouTube watching. This is great. Cronzo. Is that the guy that you shared that got made partner?
Good news, everyone.
Thanks for the host, man. Thanks for the host. I got a whole series of new alerts. Next, I think there was one instrument now. So you see here, I'm not even bothering with the melody at this point. I'm just going to flesh out sort of a rhythm section, kind of groove. I'll run that, do some variation, do a chord change, and things like that. Then I will export.
Good news, everyone.
I will export. Leo, thanks a lot. And next, I will export this into OpenMPT. See if there's anything I can add. Sometimes there's not much to there's no reason to add anything more. And I can export all the tracks, all the individual instruments and tracks into WAV that I'll import in my DAW and work, to make something that sounds fuller and wider than it would if we made in Tracker, like the one I shared earlier. This. Can't make this in the Tracker. Well, it started in the Tracker and I made it with a Tracker, but to get that full sound, you need proper modern DAW. Like most things that is that passes as chiptune on Bandcamp and all that is usually made with a sort of more modern, either very modern Tracker like OpenMPT or is imported into a modern DAW system. Sounds cool. Did I share the video that goes with it? It's kind of super secret at the moment, but I shared it already a few times. It's not on the channel. You love Professor Farnworth. Yeah, I thought it was cool, and the gift that it comes with it was I like it because it's the episode where they go to alternate universes, and let me see if I can just simulate here. Yeah.
Good news, everyone.
So everybody's coming into your box. I don't know. Thought it was cool. It's a bit nerdy. Hey, David, how you doing? So to drop in and say hi. Normally I'm available when you're actually live. You should watch a bit of a stream after. Yeah, Memories Protracker, isn't it? This is what we've done so far. I was trying to look for it. So very those strings are from obviously the Enigma tracker tune. So it's funny, anything that uses that will sound like a Enigma. I'll probably change them sometime, but for now they're gonna do which is perfect. So, can I recommend a good USB mixer? Think of adding another mic along with my guitar line input, so you can record some rhythm stuff to some game. Well, a good one I was using for most of my covers until the end of last year was the M Audio, the 2-track. Von Mowinkel, thank you very much, dude, for the follow. Welcome to the Motherfuckers Club. Yeah, the one I was using until very recently for all my covers, like literally until the end of last year, was the M Audio, the 2-track M Audio. Let me see if I can get a Audio 2 things to the 2x2, something like that. No, yeah. It wasn't this format, but like I was using an old version of of that. Two-track channel, yeah, USB two-track USB by M Audio. Got it. It's actually harder to find. I'm seeing a lot of these. Oh yeah, here it is. Let me just share my my desktop here. So this was the model I was using. It's got 2 tracks here, and that's it. I mean, you just set the volume here. You know, it's as simple as it gets. You can use either an XLR jack or I think it's here, or line-in jack, and here you can actually put in an effect jack, like a compressor or anything that plugs into a guitar. I'm not sure if you can find this model, but it's the M track by M Audio, and just look for a 2-track version. So this was 2-track, and then you get MIDI in and out and all kind of stuff. Telarian, thank you very much for following on Twitch. Really appreciate it. It's great. We got a good few people following on Twitch tonight. Really appreciate it, guys. Trying to build that Twitch following, so I don't need to annoy everybody and streaming on the channel as well. I'll probably do that for the rest of the month, but I mean, in the future we'll just stream on Twitch. Anyway, this is it. Let me just switch back to. Yeah, if you get that, that's what I used, and as you can tell, I did all the Castlevania covers with it. I did most of the Mega Man covers with it. Like there's nothing wrong with it. It works just fine. Stickler, the M Audio track 8. Fair enough. They tend to go mute. I haven't had any problem. Yeah. But you're right, actually, mouse. Nowadays, almost every USB interface will do. Yeah. Just pick one that's a decent price. Look at the reviews and all that. That's the one I use. Any Audio M track, I had no problem with it. That version, I think, is discontinued. They have a newer, updated version. Like it looks a bit different, but it's the same stuff. Most of those 2 inputs. Are sufficient. Yeah, 8 input. Yeah. So I got it's more of a mixer really than a track recorder. It's here. Let me just. That's what I use now. It's the Behringer, kind of a 4-track mixer, and it was a colleague at work that had it. And just so I think he wanted to sell it because he used it for his band, and I think they weren't going around anymore. He needed all this equipment, so he sold it to me for $50. So I was like, yeah, I'll take that. So I upgraded, but I would have kept using the M Audio stuff otherwise. I had no reason not to use it. But 50 quid for that. It's great. I can just have it's 4 tracks there, and you can have just virtual tracks if you want. Or USB tracks as well, but I have no reason to use that. And I can just, I've this one over there is for my. This one over there is for my my microphone, because I need like for voice, I need a bigger compressor. This is for the instrument. There's a compressor on that. There's all sort of effects. There's let's see if I can. There you go. There's a rack of effects in there as well. There's a detune, echo, reverb, all that kind of stuff. And it's quite good. Most of what it does, I don't need, because I like to record as dry as possible, all my instruments, and I add all the effects then in in post-production. I feel I have more control like that. So I don't add any effects like prior to when I record, like everything is recorded right. But I have the other track for recording, and then sorry, I wasn't done. And then I have this one for guitar or the U bass if I need to plug in, and this one I haven't needed to use it yet. But I mean, you can do all of that on one track, really, on a one-track recorder. Like what I do, of the nature of what I do, because it's edited and it's obviously pre-recorded and all that. You don't need all that. You just need one mic. In fact, for years, all I recorded with was an iPhone. That's all I had, my phone. And the first few covers were all recorded on my phone. I think the first 6 or 7 covers, maybe more, that was just a phone. It's kind of funny to think that's how it started, you know. Oh, the U-Bass, yeah, that's cool. I did a small video on the channel about the U-Bass because people kept asking me about it. So there's a small video there. I should create a playlist actually for all these instruments. I'm looking for a sample, and that's probably going to be the last bit I do on this. But that's the same instrument I use. No, what am I doing? I don't need this. What I'll do though is yeah. What was the other one? We need to resample this. There's no easy way to do this. Let me think. Something that will not destroy your ears. Just bear with me. Bear with me. It's going to be very painful for a couple of minutes. It could have been a lot more painful. That was kind of an interesting little groove. Nah, it's not at all what I wanted, but anyway. Really? Okay. There's a lot of this going on when you're trying to fill gaps in a track. Just trying stuff here, I'm not sure what I'm doing. Oh yeah, I forgot that about the auto step. Because why not? But I just want them very, very short. Still too. You can see how busy tracks can get there. Need it a bit louder actually, just to know what's going on, if I'm doing the right thing here. Good thing about that is now I know exactly which these notes are. They're all the notes with the AF effect. I know it sounds rougher when I'm looking for notes than it actually sounds like at the end, but can't for the life of me remember what the commands are on Protracker. C was for volume, yes. F was speed, correct. 1 was a slide up, 2 was slide down, 3 was slide to the next note, 4 is the vibrato, I think that's kind of the ones you want to use mostly, and then some of them are combinations of all that. A is for the volume slide. So instead of just doing changing the volume like to 0, you can do stuff like that volume slide, like to like F, which is the max, slide down, or here would be slide up. But if you slide it down to 0 really fast, it actually doesn't stop the sound instantly. It slides it down really fast. It just makes for a more interesting sound, and you get these effects like that. Anyway, there you go, folks. I think it's going to be hard to fill it any more than that. There's one thing we can do, but we won't hear it that much. It's just have a different square sound. There's all these different square sounds. Actually, I should do it on another instrument, otherwise I'll ruin it. And not do that. Actually, I'll do it here. Yeah. So we could actually just have a different instrument playing, just create that sort of a modulation. But it's not something I'll do tonight. It's going to be tedious, and I'll probably do it on my own. But it'll be too much tedious work for very little audible result. Even though it's all about these little details that we had, like that bass. There's how many different instruments in that bass? Like it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5 different instruments just to get that bass. Redditor, how are you doing, dude? There you go. So that was one pattern. That's 3 hours to do one pattern. I'm still rusty. I'm getting there. I'm getting back into the groove of things, but yeah, still kind of rusty there. I need to save that. See, we have a few new people on 3 hours. That yes, it's a lot of time for very little, really. Forza, dance. Have a good night. Hi, Lake. How are you doing? Lake is a Patreon supporter. It's great to see you here. You were here the last time as well, weren't you? I'm going to put the link to the Twitch for people who want to sub on Twitch there. Like I said before, it's where I'll be streaming exclusively. Sometime in the future. For now, I'll probably be on the channels for a while, but long term it'll just be on Twitch. Anyway, that's it's 3 hours, but at least it's something I can work with now and export, and we'll do a chord change at some point, and probably go into something like that. Redditor, thanks very much for this super sticker, dude. Thank you very much. That's very kind of you. I wish I had alerts for these as well on. Yeah, I wish I had alerts for these on. On the what is it called, Streamlabs, but it only does alerts for Twitch stuff, so it takes me a second to even know what's going on. But thank you very much. Anyway, it gets repetitive after a while. But even on its own, as a simple like for a crack throw or something like that, it would work. Would really fit in the 64K demo. There you go. Yeah, Mick Foley, thank you very much. It's nice trick using several bass instruments. Yeah, I've done that before. Let me save this. I think I saved it already, but let me save it again because I've done this a few times and I've forgotten to save. Save module. Are you sure? I am sure. Overwrite file. Let's refresh. See. Yeah. Okay. New file. I've done this for. Was it this one? No. And this one was a work in progress that I didn't get to stream. And the same file. No. Yeah, I've done this. It sounds very similar, actually. Similar in samples. That's what I mean. I use the same samples for stuff like that. Fucking awesome. Thank you. So the bass here was done. Yeah, that's it. Similar stuff. I've done that many times. Actually, it's a cool little trick that works well. So especially in. It's much faster paced. Yeah. That bass groove reminds you of the song Lotus Turbo Challenge. Yeah, it probably because it uses similar samples. Like ultimately, a lot of these games use very similar samples, like all those ST samples from those ST floppy disks, because these were kind of available, like for I was going to say license free, but that wasn't an issue at the time. But yeah, these were publicly provided samples. If you actually sampled something from a keyboard and then used it in a commercial game, you just didn't know legally where you stood, because different manufacturers had different laws, like for licensing. So the easiest option was to use samples that either you done yourself or that were publicly available. So a lot of people just went that road, and that's why a lot of these games use the same samples, and the same samples that you find in a lot of demos as well, early demos. Later on, people started again in demos making their own sample, but like this, that's from the first floppy of that library. You'd find that bass in, I don't know, probably 40% of most Amiga games. That as well. That as well. It's the cool part about these samples is I try to use all the SD stuff, so it does sound like the Amiga. It just it has that sound that you can't just replicate with other libraries, because this will remind people of the Amiga because all those samples would sound familiar. So it'll remind you of this game or this game or this game, depending on people. Remind me of old times where Paradox and Razer were around very closely. Oh, good times. Yeah, there you go. That's yeah, the mic is distorting a tiny bit. It's because I'm way too close to it, and I have the volume on super high. I have a good bit of compression on there as well, but sometimes when I come too close, it can distort. In your directory list, there isn't. Let me just. Yeah, I've Leander. I was converting the Leander modules to MIDI recently, which I finished because that's not available. You can't find the MIDI for that, and a lot of people have been looking for that. Yeah, I have Miga. I have Overload. Where is it? Is that it? Very few effects here, just echoes. Here's an example of a bass done with multiple instruments. Not that, not that. Sounds funny on its own, but it just works so perfectly. Yeah, great tune. Fantastic tune. But very few effects other than just volume control. Like you have those A and the C for echo effects here to create that echo stuff. If you compare that to something like Overload, which is just riddled with oh, sorry. That's frustrating. Good ST samples, yes. I mean, this stuff here is just like echo. It's actually a lot of volume here. Oh yeah, this section is just non-stop. And this lead is just magical. That what is that 6? I'll have to check what that 6 is. But I just love that it just vibrates so fast, and it's almost like the lead is kind of crying in pain. It's just barely trying to come out. What is that? 6. Oh, such a cool tune. Such a cool tune. Oh, it's a 6 here is a vibrato, heavy vibrato, and a volume slide, so it just slides up to you. That vibrato there, just genius. Enigma is another one that is known for abusing the effects. Sorry. Savage tune. Still the same chords I used today. I could do this all night. In fact, I will do at some point just a listening party of just different mods, and we'll go through like individual tracks and see how they did all their tricks and sound, because there's just so much to like we could listen to them once through or something like that and just go through some of the cool stuff. I mean, those make fashion of the it certainly did, yeah. A lot of tracks actually did, like it's just like the one I was showing before, Overload, like was using that AF as well, like AOF, but this one was super effective. But it's actually very few full AOF. If you listen, it's actually 06. And that drum. It just works so well. And there's another case of a track using different instruments for the bass. That's nothing but basses. Yeah, AOF here, everywhere. So, it's just together, they work so well. And this, we had this was around. So cool. Anyway, yes. Look forward to the stream. Yes, yeah, me too. Actually, we'll do it. We'll do it at some point. I will, mate. Thank you very much, dude. Yeah, I'm gonna hit the sack as well. Folks, we'll do that stream. Thank you very much. Anyway, actually, I'll reload after listening to really good mods. Does this still hold up? Yeah. Needs some work, but it's. Anyway, yeah, we'll do a listening party at some point as well. So what I will do with this track yet, I don't quite know. I will most likely, just refine it and then do a second, like a chord change or a second line of chord, things like that. Export it into Acid Pro, well, open MPT and then Acid Pro, and then just flesh it out even more and do a lead and things like that. But for now, as far as Protracker is concerned, well, actually, no, I need to do probably two different chord, progression that will suit that. But as far as this stream, Maserati, thank you very much. Welcome to the Motherfuckers Club. Thank you very much for joining. Yeah, folks, I will put the link back. If you're listening from YouTube, comment on Switch. Come on. But thank you very much, everyone who stayed or joined at any point, and watched the stream. It was kind of fun. I'll do it again, definitely. I've done a few sessions of playing game, which is fun, but I much more enjoy doing these. I have to be honest. So at some point we'll do that. Anouk, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Yeah, we'll do it again, folks. I'll probably stream again tomorrow, if I'm honest. I just don't know what I'll do yet. So if you're around, yeah, come in and say hi. Folks, thank you very much for watching, and sure, I'll see you soon.